Here are 10 things that prove Donald Trump incited a riot on January 6th. I'm nonpartisan, and this is my objective analysis of all my research into what happened on January 6th to establish whether or not Donald Trump was in fact at least somewhat responsible. To what degree is his responsibility? I'll leave that to you to decide. But here are the facts. Please listen with an open mind and set aside your assumptions and your beliefs. Put the emotion aside and listen to the facts that I'm presenting to you, assess them, and then come to your own conclusion. If you're just going to watch this entire video in an agitated state of like, oh, look at this idiot who's been watching CNN or whatever, and everything I say, you're just going to automatically try to throw it out, then don't even bother wasting your time watching this video. If you truly want to hear a substantial case of why Donald Trump might be responsible, that you can either accept or reject, then continue watching. This is the Debate Me channel. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Let's begin. Number one, Donald Trump is still, to this very day, inciting violence as we speak. The reason they attacked the Capitol on January 6th is because they believe the election was stolen. The reason they believe that is because Donald Trump told them that. He's the one who put that out there. Even after 6 people are dead and dozens of police officers were put in critical condition, and we still to this day have the Capitol as a fortress and ongoing threats, Donald Trump remains silent. Keep in mind, the longer that Donald Trump allows this idea that the election was stolen to continue, we will continue to be at a high level of risk for further violence. So not only did he allow and encourage, which we're going to present in this video, the violence to happen on the 6th, he's still doing it now. Again, the thing that inspired the violence, he's still allowing to continue right now. Donald Trump has the power to shut this down. They will listen to him. Number 2, Trump knew that they were going to attack the Capitol ahead of time. He knew. Imagine knowing that your supporters are planning to attack the Capitol, and then you go and you make this aggressive speech about, we got to fight, don't let them take our country. Why would you be trying to energize a crowd of people that you know some of them are planning an attack? How did Donald Trump know? And this is something that hasn't really been covered on mainstream media. Number one, he would have been notified in his intelligence briefings. The FBI knew that there was a potential attack. Donald Trump also planned to go outdoors and speak at the event. So Secret Service obviously would have had to have done some kind of security threat analysis and provide a report to Donald Trump. It is absolutely ridiculous for you to consider that Donald Trump was not briefed by multiple individuals, FBI and Secret Service, about the attacks. I'm not in government, I'm not in law enforcement, and I knew that there were going to be attacks months before. Obviously, I can't predict the future, so I'm not saying I knew it was going to happen for sure, but I was paying attention and I could see the chatter, I could see where things were headed. I even advised my family to be on alert during the state certifications, and then in particular on January 6th. If I knew to give my family a warning months ahead of time as just a regular private citizen, yes, I'm a veteran, but none of my experience is relevant here. Nothing I did in the military is relevant. So I'm just a regular person paying attention, seeing what Trump is doing, seeing what his followers are saying online. I don't have the level of access that the FBI has. And regardless, the FBI put out a notice before the event about the intention to attack the Capitol. They knew, so therefore Trump knew. Why would you go to a crowd that you know is planning violence and talk to them about they have to fight and lose your country and all that kind of stuff? Finally, Donald Trump's social media team actively monitors social media. They're monitoring like Donald.win and all these sources that I was looking at they're looking at it, and more than me, right? I'm just one person. He had a team of people that monitor this stuff. There was a lot of chatter online about storming the Capitol prior to the Capitol, and Donald Trump had a social media team that monitors the exact places where they talk about it. So Donald Trump knew not only that they were planning violence, but he knew specifically that they planned to storm the Capitol from his social media team, FBI, and Secret Service. At least one of them, most likely all of them, would have warned Trump. So he knew. Number 3, Donald Trump was directly responsible for steering the crowd towards the insurrection. He wasn't just a passive bystander who just made a speech. The original events were planned for after inauguration. They had permits set for after inauguration. Trump is the one who pulled them back and put out, hey, rally on the 6th. It's going to be wild. They went and changed their dates to match the date that Trump put out. Trump did that. He changed the date, or rather, he pushed for the date to be changed to January 6th. So if he did nothing, they would have had their rally after inauguration. Now, there were people that planned to storm the Capitol, but part of that plan depended on the crowd. So if there wasn't going to be a large rally, the idea of going up to the Capitol with even a few dozen or a couple hundred people up against the entire Capitol Police at the Capitol, that's not a very good mission. They needed the crowd. Donald Trump made sure there was a crowd. Save the date, January 6th. It's going to be wild. Why would it be wild? It's just a rally, right? Not only did Donald Trump do that, the permit was for them to be in the ellipse only. The permit specifically said they were not to march from there, right? So if Donald Trump did nothing, they would have met after inauguration, and no attack because no crowd to hide behind. The crowd was a very fundamental piece of what was required to storm the Capitol. No crowd, no attack. Trump brought the date, brought the crowd to the date when they were certifying the votes. They planned to only be in the ellipse. Permit was only in the ellipse. So how did they get to the Capitol? Donald Trump directly sent them there. He's the one who said, let's march down to the Capitol, and I'm going to march down with you. The President of the United States has told you to march to the Capitol and that he's going to be there with you. You're a crowd of people that believe the election was stolen, and you're being told that you're going to lose your country, and you've got to fight, and the President of the United States is saying he's going to be there with you. If you thought the election was stolen, and the President of the United States is telling you to march down to the Capitol against what your permit allows you to do, don't you think you'd feel a little bit emboldened? Number 4, there's no point in going to the Capitol. When you're doing analysis of things like this, you have to think through the process. In terms of when Donald Trump says we've got to fight, what does he mean by fight? What can they do? It's too late to do anything. And what's the point of marching down to the Capitol? Why did he suggest they march down to the Capitol when that wasn't their plans? What did he want them to accomplish by marching down to the Capitol? Remember, they were certifying the votes inside of the building. The room that they're in has no windows. So marching down to the Capitol would be pointless if they're just going to stand out and do a rally, right? This is the final process of the election. The certifying of the votes, right? So what would be the benefit of them marching down to the Capitol against their permit? To do what? To just stand out there with flags while the process goes through and they certify the votes and that's it, Biden won? No one would see them. No one in the building who's involved in the process would see them or hear them. The only benefit of marching onto the Capitol would be if they go into the Capitol to somehow interfere with the process. Also note, while they were interfering with the process, Rudy Giuliani was making phone calls trying to get people to delay the process. So you've got a crowd of people that you sent down to the Capitol, and while they're there attacking the Capitol, you're making phone calls saying, hey, let's delay this process. What do you think Donald Trump's intentions were? Number 5, Donald Trump did nothing for half an hour after the attack began. We know he was watching the event on cameras prior to and certainly during. I know some people try to be slick and show the video of him watching before and trying to pretend like that was him watching during because it was a jovial thing and people were smiling and whatever. That video was before, but he was definitely monitoring during. So he sees the Capitol being attacked and he says nothing for half an hour. You believe that he didn't incite the riot, yet he did everything possible to incite the riot without going too far to where it's obvious that that's what he's doing. I mean, he's not going to say, hey, go attack the Capitol. Like if I were Trump and I wanted to incite a riot, I would have done exactly what he did. I'm not going to say do anything violent, but I know the crowd is angry. I'm going to be like, you got to fight, blah, blah. I'm going to say all those things to get them all rattled up. And then I'm also going to cover myself by saying, hey, be peaceful or peacefully march or something. I'm going to tone that down, spend a lot of time talking about fight, and this and that, and take our country. And then somewhere in there, I'll slip in peacefully, whatever. Because I know my supporters and apologists will latch on to that statement of be peaceful. This is standard practice. It's not creative. This is how this is always done. It's called stochastic terrorism. So you do everything to get people down there and get them all angry. And then once they start attacking the Capitol, you don't do anything. You let it happen. 30 minutes are going by. This is an event where 6 people ended up dead. And he's sitting by and letting it happen, which is exactly what you'd do if you wanted the riot in the first place. Notice how Trump is not doing anything that you would do if you didn't want a riot. You know that there's planned violence. Like this is you if you didn't want a riot. You know that there's planned violence. In your speech, you reference it. I'm getting reports that there's people that are planning to do different things, attacking the Capitol, whatever. That's not how we operate, right? You jump in top of that because the safety of the democratic process and our government is paramount as the president of the United States. So that should be one of the first things you talk about. Anyone planning any violence, you do not stand for me, you're not for me, go home, whatever. He didn't say that. But that's what you would have done if you didn't want the riots. You definitely wouldn't have told them to go down to the Capitol. You know they're planning to storm the Capitol. Why are you sending them there? And then if they decide to go there anyway, the instant you see them breaking the barriers, first of all, the instant you see them there, knowing they plan to attack the Capitol and knowing they're not supposed to be there, the permit doesn't allow them to be here, you right away say, hey guys, leave. You know they will listen to you. You know they're following your tweets. You say leave before they attack the Capitol. That's what you do if you didn't want there to be a riot. And certainly the instant they crash those barriers, you are on top of that. You're on the news, press conference, whatever. Hey guys, your Twitter, leave, like right away, not 30 minutes later. You don't wait until people are dead and people are running for their lives to say something, unless that's what you want to happen. Number 6, Donald Trump did not condemn the violence until the very next day. Review the videos and his tweets. He did not condemn the violence until the very next day. And why do you think he condemned the violence? For the same reason that Joe Biden condemned Antifa, because they were both getting pressured. You've got to make a statement. You got to make a statement. This doesn't look good. He's not the one that volunteered, hey, let me make a statement. It was his advisors that pushed him, just like I'm sure Joe Biden's advisors pushed him to say about Antifa. Notice how after Joe Biden has been elected, he hasn't been saying much about Antifa, and they've been rioting still, right? Because he doesn't really care about Antifa. Just like Trump didn't care about the violence that was coming from his supporters. If he did, he would have said something from the very beginning of his speech on the 6th. Number 7, he was pushed to make a statement, and then first of all, he didn't want to do it. People are like, you got to do it, you got to do it, you got it. Then he does it, and then he regrets it after. So first of all, he's got to be pushed to do it, and then after the fact, he's like regretful that he did it? Doesn't make any sense. Number 8, that's 8. Trump has not said anything to stop the violence since the attack. Like whatever statements he made on the 6th and the 7th, that's it. It's been over a month and he's been silent. He only said stuff when he was pressured to say stuff. Trump always talks about Antifa. Clearly that's something he really cares about. The riots on the 6th, says something when he absolutely is pushed to, then after that has nothing to say because he doesn't care. Currently, we're still under threat of further violence. We've spent millions and millions of dollars in security with the National Guard, and there are still existing threats where people may do further attacks and further violence. Donald Trump knows this, and he knows the reason for this violence is because he refuses to admit that he lost the election. Even now, he still refuses to admit that he lost the election. That fact is why they attacked on the 6th. That fact is why there's still an existing threat.